For bloody brilliant games, I'm Sam, these are the week's headlines. We begin with Arcane Studios' FPS Deathloop, which this week got its first update. The update brings a range of fixes to various NPC and bug issues, as well as adding a calibration screen for the game's HDR options. It also adds an on-screen poor connection indicator, improves DualSense controller vibrations, improves audio mixing, and a number of other alterations. The full patch notes can be read at the link below. Next, the latest installment in the Metroid series, Metroid Dread, has outsold nearly every other installment in the franchise in its first week in Japan. That's according to the latest Japanese sales data collated by KIMETSU, which shows that Metroid Dread sold for 86,798 copies during its first 3 days on sale. Because the Famitsu sale data only includes physical copies, Dread's first week sales will have been even higher when digital is taken into account. The available data put together by Game Data Library has Metroid Dread selling 43% more than 2006's Metroid Fusion, which until now was the highest selling Metroid game in its first week, with 49,680 copies sold. And while the available data for the first 3 Metroid games is not available, as the track numbers only date back to 1995, if Dread continues to perform at such pace, it will easily overtake Fusion's lifetime sales in Japan, the biggest ever Metroid title, with available data claiming 155,528 copies sold. Another remake is heading our way. Joe and Mac Caveman Adventure, the side-scrolling arcade platformer, which has been available on the Switch's online SNES library, is heading to the PC and likely Sony and Microsoft consoles. The remake will release sometime in 2022. Sledgehammer Games, the developer behind the upcoming Call of Duty Vanguard, will be opening a studio in the UK. Its new Guildford studio will support Call of Duty Vanguard's live seasons, as well as future projects we have planned in the years ahead, the company said in a blog post announcing the move. The studio is currently hiring for a number of positions. Finally this week, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was nearly cancelled entirely. That's according to CEO of Paradox Interactive, Fredrik Wester. Wester was speaking in an interview with a Swedish outlet via Avanza and translated by Video Games Chronicle. He spoke on Paradox taking the game away from Hardsuit Labs back in February of this year. Quote, "When we lifted the game from its original developer, we had a long review in case we should end the game or run it further. Then we were actually prepared to close the production completely. However, it seems the game got a reprieve at a very late stage. Quote, but we got a pitch that we thought was convincing enough to run, and we have very good hopes that it will be a good game that meets the players' expectations." Paradox hasn't specified which studio is currently working on Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. However, Webster apparently claimed that the studio is a, quote, very reputable and talented developer. Paradox confirmed the game would miss its 2021 release date as part of the announcement, and there is no word on a new release date. Following Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2's removal from its original developer Hardsuit Labs, the studio was sadly forced to let several members of staff go. However, it does appear the team got a new logo just last week and are actively hiring, so hopefully there's brighter days ahead. Before we go, a quick word on the notable releases from the past week. Crytek's high-tech action shooter franchise arrived on the Switch, PC, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 on the 15th of October. At the time of talking, only the PlayStation 4 review scores have been published, with Crysis Remastered Trilogy scoring an average 76% from 11 reviews on Metacritic, the highest being an 80 from a number of publications including VG247 and the lowest being a 60% from Push Square. Smash hit RPG Disco Elysium arrived on the Switch, with Disco Elysium The Final Cut on the 12th, receiving an average 87% from 11 outlets. Lone Echo 2, the sequel to developer Ready at Dawn's 2017 title, also released on the 12th on PC and scored from 6 publications an average 85%. And Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles, hit the PlayStation, Xbox and Switch stores alongside PC on the 13th. Only 2 versions of the game at the time of talking have had reviews published, with the PlayStation 4 port receiving an average 72% from 8 outlets on Metacritic, varying from 85% from DualShockers to 65% from IGN Italia, while the PlayStation 5 release scored 71% average from 18 publications, with highs of 85% from PlayStation Universe to lows of 60 from Push Square. With all that said, we've reached the end of this week's episode. Be sure to check out, if you have not already, our coverage of EGX 2021 on the show floor, with gameplay and interviews from the likes of Team 17, P-Cube and a number of indie devs. Please leave your thoughts on any of the stories we've talked about today in the comments down below, and while you're down there, why not let me know what games you've been playing this week? I'm Sam, thank you for watching Bloody Brilliant Games. I shall see you next week. Goodbye.